Okay, hello and welcome to another episode of The Naked Turner. Today I've cut up a bunch of parts here, there, and over there, and down here, a series of parts. So I have 4 layers of 3/4 inch stock, which will give me a total of 3 inches, plus I'll have a base, which is right over here. And this will be the bottom of my segmented bowl. It's chucked up and I have it double stuck onto my faceplate right now. Some double stick tape holding that on there. I'm going to turn a mortise in the bottom of this so that my scrolling jaw chuck can fit inside of this piece here. And this is Nyota, I believe is how you pronounce that. Nyota wood. This is a real pretty, sort of like a cross between a teak and a mahogany. Anyway, so what I did, here, let me just kind of show you what I did here. I made myself a miter gauge fence so that I could take and place my stock in here like so against my stop, and then I can send that through the saw and cut all my small pieces for my segments. And the saw, this is set at 11.25 degrees off of 90, so that'll give me an 11.25 degree angle on each end of these pieces that I made. So, and then when I fit them together, I actually got real lucky. Sometimes I have to do a little tweaking and stuff, or sanding of the two halves, but it looks to me like all those parts came out really nice. Okay, so first I put down some plastic, some like cling wrap, some saran wrap, and then I took and taped it down, and that's just a release agent for my glue so that my blocks don't stick to my plywood clamping unit. So this is an actual clamp here that has 2 pieces of plywood that can squeeze this together. I probably won't use that on this first ring. I'll just be banding all of the pieces together after I end glue them. So I'm going to get started gluing, and I'll show you the next few processes. Okay, so I'm end gluing, and the way I'm doing that is, let's see, which one am I doing next? Pine, Nyota. So I'm doing a pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, one of each individual type, and I'm just end gluing, pressing into place. Putting a little glue on, smearing it, sticking it down. And then with the last one, I'll be gluing both sides. Plenty of glue. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now what I do is I take some of this 6-inch strapping saran wrap, and I've done all different types of ways before with this, but this seems to work really well. I can just kind of lay my strip around here and get like this until they touch each other like that, and then I can just slowly start tightening with my subsequent wraps. And it's a trick that I thought of after trying all different types of straps and tape. And so it's nice because I can just start stretching this stuff and getting it tighter and tighter and tighter. Lift it up and straighten out any of these spots. Try to get all these interior points kind of real close to the same location, which they actually are right now. Then I push all of the individual blocks down nice and firm down to the table. And okay, so while the glue is setting up for the first segmented ring of the bowl, I'm going to start turning the base of the bowl. And it's easier to do that now before you glue the ring onto it, for several reasons. For the reason that you can make your bottom either a spigot or a mortise for yourself to grab onto or to expand into as you desire for your specific chuck. I am going to be doing I'll be doing a mortise so that I can expand into that bowl, just because I like the cleanness of the look, and hopefully the bottom will stay intact for me. So I'm going to get started with that now. Okay, so safety gear, make sure everything's locked down, motor's locked down. I am going to bring my tailstock in for a minute, because anytime I'm working on the faceplate and I'm just using double stick, I like to first, before I start turning, I like to take and pressurize the block. Take it and really give it a good smush on, and that kind of just clamps it on there for a minute. Okay, so there's the bottom of the segmented bowl that I'm about to do. Okay, so now I have that piece flipped around, and basically all I'm going to do is surface this edge. I'm just going to make sure it's nice and flat, so that when I go to glue on my segments, they'll have a nice flat surface to go to. Okay, so I just made a series of measurements from here to here, here to here, here to here. Now I'm drawing a pencil line around my outside edge. That shows me that I don't need to glue anything past that point. And then what I'm going to do is I'll double stick one here, and I'll double stick one over here. Double stick one there, and I will double stick one right over here. And what I'm doing is positioning them with the angles going down, so it'll be easy to drop it in there, and then that'll position it for me as it'll make it a little easier to put it in and make sure that the glue doesn't smush around too much, and that I'm still centered. Okay, so now I have some double stick on the back of this. I'm going to take it, stick it down right there, just like so. Circle of that around here, making sure to get enough on there to coat the entire. So I just finished the same process with the next layer, and it's all glued up, saran wrapped together, stretching the saran wrap around, making it nice and tight, and we'll let that dry up along with the other part. And then what I'll do is sand down the face, one face of that, sand down the other face of the other unit, glue the two units together in the orientation that I want them to be in, and then clamp those up and let those dry. Okay, so here I have the four rings, the four different segmented rings glued up to the base unit, and what I've done is staggered them so that they step around like this in in kind of a helix formation. Okay, so here I'm gluing up a piece that's almost 36 inches long, and it's made up of 9 pieces here in the middle that are, what are they again? They are 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch. So I have an 1.5 inch square made up of 9 strips of 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch by 35 inch long pieces that I glued up first. And now I'm adding another 4 pieces, so I'll have a total of 13 pieces making up this band that I'll be cutting into segments for the top of this bowl that I'm creating. And this will be a checkerboard pattern inside of a frame. So I have 3 different types of wood making this up. And here is the 5th and final segmented ring, which I'm going to sand down now on my stationary sander. Alright, so there it is now. I've surface sanded it, checked it to make sure it's flat on both sides, and it is. And it looks really nice, and now that will get glued up to the other. What I'm about to do is I have it positioned now in the right orientation, and I'm going to take, now that it's positioned, I'm going to take and mark with a pencil all the way around this. Then what I'll do is I'll take it 4 locations and I will hot glue on little registration blocks. And what that'll do is it'll make it so that when I go to clamp this up, the segments will not shift on me. So it makes it a lot easier, because once you get glue on, of course the parts want to slide around a lot easier, and it makes it really hard to clamp. So now what I'm doing is, like I said, I'm going to hot glue this registration piece right here, and then I have my arrow showing that I want those 2 arrows to point to each other when everything's glued together. And so I'll be putting one there, I'll be putting one over here, I'll be putting one down here, and then I'll be putting another one right over here. 4 of them should be enough on this, as long as I get them nice and tight. And once those are hot glued on, then I'll apply some glue inside of the pencil line which I made a pencil line all the way around, showing that I do not need to glue past that point. Okay, and there we go. Now I have 90 pounds of weight sitting on top of those 5 segmented rings sitting on the bowl base. Okay, so here I have the top section. This is going to be the last 16 segments for the top ring. And the way I made those is I made myself a block like this, and glued it up as you saw a few minutes ago, and that's what the end looks like. And then I just took and cross-cut it in here on my bandsaw, and what I did was set up my fence and pushed my block through, making myself 16 equal-sized pieces of this checker look. And that's made of pine, oak, and sapele. So the pine is the light wood, the oak is the 5 dots, and the sapele is wrapping around the outside of this. At least I believe it's sapele. I'm not exactly sure. This is either the sapele or it might be the Honduran mahogany that was grown in Fiji. Actually, I have a feeling that's probably what it is. So now I have my blocks, and I'm putting them on my sled, or on my miter gauge with a little sled fence backer. And then what's happening is I'm passing those through like that to get my angle. Then what will happen is I'll flip them over and move my stop until I'm just cutting the edge, and then I'll get my pieces, which will look something like this.